Hey, this past week, Jenna, we've been talking a lot about, in light of the conference finals and all the refereeing mistakes and the overtimes, all the rest of the stuff. Where's the NFL go from here? I mean, is there something to be learned from the past weekend of games that they should respond to?
I mean, I think there's definitely something to be learned just in the fact that the way both, the endings of both games going to overtime, some of those calls down the stretch were huge. But I don't know if the league will actually take any action. They've really kind of dug in, I feel like, a lot of times. And I think if you were to look at replay, like, that missed pass interference call on Nickel Roby-Coleman, I don't know if replay is the answer of looking at every single call down the stretch, how much time that would take.
But trying to sell a shrug is tough.
Yes, I agree. I do think for overtime, though, I think the league should look into maybe making some changes because it's almost like if you're in a hockey game in a shootout and only one team gets to have the opportunity to do a shootout. Like the reason these guys are in the playoffs is because they can score touchdowns. So I don't really think it's fair to have only one team really get the opportunity to do that.
Mike, I have to admit, I stole this from a caller on one of the local talk shows that actually I thought had something. It suggested that the overtime is okay, but the coin flip is bad. And that the team that gets the ball first should do it on merit. But I'm kind of thinking like maybe the team that had the most first downs during regulation gets the ball first. Something along those lines do anything for you?
No, I would go.
My ideas never get well.
What your ideas are?
No, because I look at it and say it's almost like you are going to play a small game within the game to try to decide it. The way I look at that with that overtime, the one argument is, the guy will step up and say, well, play defense. Well, you've already changed the rule to say you allow a field goal. So play defense, just play a little bit more than if you allowed a field goal. My thought is if your team's in the game, and you're rooting for the Patriots, so they score and they win, you're happy. Almost every other fan, certainly Chiefs fans, watching that game wanted to see Patrick Mahomes get the ball and see if he has a chance to tie the game. Yeah. And I understand you can't just play and play and play forever and there can be injuries and all. But I think in the playoff setting, maybe not in the regular season because you can't stay all day and it is a long season. But in the playoffs, I would say, much like they do in hockey, you play until it's done. That's not what they do in the regular season. Yes. And I know you hate the shootout. I know you do. But there's 80 games in the regular season in hockey. You can't just play forever in overtime. You could have a tie. But in this case, I'd say, man, give Mahomes or the other team a shot if the other team scores a touchdown. That's all I would change.
There's a very simple solution to fixing this problem. You stop the clock to end the game, and whoever has the ball continues to play football, and you keep the rules exactly the way they are. There's no disadvantage there. For example, right? I forget who had the ball. It was the Rams who had the ball. They sent it in overtime. Okay, so then the Saints get the ball coming out because the Rams had to frantically drive down the field to score that touchdown. Therefore, it's now the Saints' possession. How would that alter anything?
I don't hate that.
I don't understand. It's such a simple idea. You're kind of punishing a team that had to drive their way back. Okay, well, now they get their chance to answer, and if they score a touchdown, the game's over. If not, you get the ball and have your opportunity to score.
It's interesting, but the way football has been set up, the quarters aren't done that way, but the half is, right? The half ends where it ends, and then you start secondly, and there is a 60-minute game, and overtime does have its own set of rules. Now, you could change that extend the game.
That argument isn't valid because the way that football has been done up until 9 years ago was the first team to score wins, right? Like, I hate that traditionalist argument.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I'm not saying
traditional.
And by the way, no argument I make is invalid.
Okay.
Just want to tell you that.
That's why it's iconic.
Yes, exactly.